Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the original Next Level Gaming podcast. I am Mike Mullis.
And I am the up-and-coming podcast sensation, John Place.
Techno, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, Michael. How you doing, buddy?
I've been good. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, or late Thanksgiving. How was yours?
Oh, mine was great, and happy Thanksgiving to you as well. We had Thanksgiving dinner with my parents, and had a wonderful Thanksgiving day. Yeah, it went fantastic.
We had our parents over. You know, our house has become the Thanksgiving central mecca for my folks to come over, and we had some family friends come over. We had about 12 people. Did a nice turkey rotisserie because I love my Ronco Showtime rotisserie.
Right. Yeah.
That'll be next week's sponsor. Which reminds me, before we go any further, John,
yes.
who is our sponsor this week?
Well, this week's sponsor is Oscar Mayer Wiener. Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer Wiener. That is what I truly like to be. Because if I were an Oscar Mayer Wiener, everyone would be in love with me.
Oscar Mayer Wieners. Now, if you're like me, unfortunately, they're full of pork. So,
right.
Actually, they make a beef hot dog, but
you got to remember, everybody loves a wiener.
This is comments to John Place below. Those of us chosen people, however, do have to go with the Hebrew National brand. Just,
Very nice, very nice.
Higher power. And I wanted to show this to you because you brought to me the Oscar Mayer Wiener. Well, this is the Wiener 4x4.
Look at that thing. That's a monster, man. It looks like it's like the hot dog warthog.
Right. So we have the Wienermobile is actually more of it looks almost like a Corvette with an Oscar Mayer Wiener on top of it. And then I found this, and I thought this might be a wonderful holiday gift for you. The Oscar Mayer Wiener Lego set.
Oh, look at that in all its glory.
Yes.
Look at that. It's got a little wiener stand, and there's the centerpiece, and look at that. Oh, that's good stuff right there.
It really is.
Yeah.
So there you have it. And before we go any farther, happy birthday, John.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you. Oh, so wow, look at that. Yeah.
No, you had a great weekend, didn't you?
I had it. Well, it was a hectic weekend. But yes, you know how Thanksgiving is. It's kind of like the Chevy Chase Christmas specials. When the family gets together, there's always some weirdness that happens. But yeah, Thanksgiving was wonderful,
And then your birthday.
Yeah.
So I hope you had a very wonderful birthday. And I have to tell you, and I don't know how I have come to feel like this. At one point, when I started Next Level Gaming, and I had my crew and I had my staff, I was the patriarch of Next Level Gaming. I was the elder statesman. Somehow, you have come along, and I am the youngest of the two. I'm the kid now. How did that happen?
Well, it's been my main goal in life is to make everyone feel younger. So I don't know, but I feel great, man. 43
excellent.
Years old, and I've said many times I'm going to game for another 43 years if I can. By then maybe I can get some kind of eye augmentation like Deus Ex or something if I can't see anymore. But I will find a way to play games.
Well, that's. I hope so too. I mean, now I'm right behind you. I'm 42, so I'm. I just found it funny that all of a sudden, I'm not the old man of the site. And I don't know how that happened in one shot.
Well, what's funny? I noticed this last year, man, sometimes even when I'm talking and stuff, I'm starting to whistle when I talk like Herbert on Family Guy. Popsicles. And it's kind of happening. It's the old man's voice, and there's no escaping it. It's coming. You can only fight it off so long.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah,
So tell us a little bit about your new avatar there. Like, I mean, I just took mine and put, Stinger in it so you knew who was talking, but tell us a little bit about
well,
Mr. Techno with the king
I,
hat on.
Sunday I turned 43, and actually the good folks at Xbox had sent me that, and it was funny. My friend Tyler Boy from Rectify Gaming, he said, "John, you don't have any eyeballs." And I was like, "You're right." I said, "None of these graphics have eyeballs." So, I had to spruce it up a little bit. So I did a little Photoshop on it, and as you can see, I added the king hat and the colorful balloons. I liked a little bit of color, and then I put some shades on, because you can't go around without eyeballs. That's just not going to cut it, you know. And then if you read the TV, the football presentation there, it says, "Why be a king if you can be a god?" I just found it real funny. But look, achievement unlocked, older and
Older and
wiser,
wiser.
and that was from the people at Xbox. I'm very proud of that, and I just spruced it. I'm very proud of that. In fact, I'm going to use it on my YouTube channel as well, and I use it for the podcast. It's great,
Oh, it is great.
and it's even got my birth date on the jersey.
It
Fantastic.
does. And next year they're going to make you a new one.
Well, I'm not going to push it. I'm lucky I got that.
Well, I don't know. You did get a happy birthday from Aaron. Like you tweeted out, "It's my birthday," and unsolicited, Aaron rocked you a happy birthday. So,
Well,
you know,
I have a lot of respect for Aaron Greenberg.
well, you're a celebrity.
I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a guy. I'm the king of corny, and I love gaming. But Aaron Greenberg's a great guy. I mean, he's like we've talked about. How many times do the executives at a console company actually take the time to respond to you and to do things like that? And Aaron's always doing like that for people. I mean, Aaron kind of is like Santa Claus, So, and in fact, when he sent me that happy birthday message, it meant a lot because I'm actually going through a lot of health issues right now.
Mm.
I was injured at work a couple years back, and so I've had 5 surgeries in the last 2 years. And my fiance and we've got all kinds of financial strain, and I'm trying to recover and trying to regain use of my left arm. And when Aaron wished me a happy birthday, it kind of choked me up a little bit.
That was
But
really nice.
so I thank him for that, man. That wonderful guy.
That was really nice.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so Thanksgiving was good. Your birthday was good, and so right after Thanksgiving, of course, was the frenzy of Black Friday, and
Yeah.
so I asked on our Twitter feed, on the official Next Level Gaming Twitter feed, what people got as their haul for Black Friday. I didn't get much of an answer. I wonder if maybe it's almost like people did not take advantage of Black Friday sales as far as people who already game. Did you get anything?
Well, I picked up a few items, and like I said before, right now things financially have been tough for us, for our family. So, but there were a couple things I did manage to pick up. I didn't have the There was a couple Telltale games that I didn't. I bought Tales from the Borderlands and Game of Thrones, the complete season. I also ended up getting The Crew, the complete edition.
Oh, you did get that. Okay.
But I ended up, yeah, because the price was too good on it. But many of the games that they had there were some great specials. But to be honest with you, a lot of them I had already purchased. And I think what the problem is, maybe people didn't respond simply for the fact that we are getting so close to Christmas. And even though it's a time for giving and buying and whatnot, I'm sure people are probably kind of budgeting their money too, Mike, make sure that Christmas is taken care of and things like that. So, for me, I had most of the titles that were on special, but I did pick up a few. And, I actually got some birthday money from my mom. She always, every
Nice.
year, like clockwork, she gives me a birthday card and, gave me some money. So, I went and I did buy another PlayStation 4 controller and headset. I only had one controller in the beginning, and I wanted to play some games with my fiance. So now we're playing MLB The Show and Gauntlet and things like that. So we're real excited. So, and I had enough money left over. I did buy a Star Wars Millennium Falcon shirt
Nice.
because the movie's coming up. You got to have some Star Wars. So,
Very. Absolutely.
but yeah,
Excellent. Well, I took advantage of some of that too. Not in the stores. There was no way in the world I was going out on Black Friday because that's just ridiculous. And with all the sales going on and all the things that are happening outside of like online and Cyber Monday and things like that, I don't know why people are even leaving the house at this point, but I did not. So I ended up getting. I got the Crew as well. $20 for the Crew, the complete edition. I mean, I told you and Dimitri about it. I mean, that was just too good to pass up. I know it's not Forza Horizon 2, and it's not Drive Club, and it's not at that caliber of game, but it came with the game itself. It came with the Wild. Was it called the Wild add-on? I forgot what the add-on was called.
the Wild.
And
I forget too. Actually, well, I haven't had a chance to actually play it yet. I've been so busy. So
and it came with the season pass. So I mean, that's for $20. You can't, that's a hard one to pass up. Now I got it on the Xbox. I don't know if it was $20 on PlayStation Network, um,
the
but
prices were very comparable for sales. Like
okay,
they were within $1 or so.
okay,
And of course, each one has their own special titles as well thrown
yeah.
in there.
But
But
if it's $20 on PSN, you folks, you gotta. I mean, how do you pass it up? Even if it's not the greatest racing game ever made, you, I played the beta a while back, and I was just kind of like, okay, it's kind of cool. But the problem at the time was for $60, Forza Horizon 2 already had my full attention. So it's a hard sale when you're up against arguably one of the best open world racers out there. But now at $20, I could do both. If I want to go cruising across the Italian freeways one night and then drive from Detroit to California the next, bingo, it's great. So I got that, and then I ended up at the very last minute getting the King's Quest Complete Edition, which was
oh, that's
only
that's a
yeah
good one.
yeah it was $30, and it's all five. So right now there's only the first episode, but when the next four come out, it'll be part of that. I couldn't pass that up. King's Quest is one of those games that was my youth. I mean,
See,
literally was my youth.
it's funny because I purchased King's Quest also, but I'm actually waiting till all the episodes release. I want to play it together in one shebang. Um,
Well, I'm
I
okay
wanted
breaking
to.
up.
It reminded me of the original when I played, the first King's Quest years ago, and I plus with all these other games I've got, I'm just deciding to wait till they all release, and I'm going to play it in one sitting. I'm just going to sit down and play it that way.
I'm okay breaking it up because I have so many other games to play. I'm still collectible hunting in Tomb Raider, so that's going to take me another month or two, and then I still have some other things to play. So I'm okay with using King's Quest Episode 1 as kind of a filler in between. One of the I kind of liken it to another game that I really enjoyed, and I can't believe it. It should hopefully do a lot better than it, like long term. But there was an indie game called Blues and Bullets. Now we also have a review up for Blues and Bullets on our YouTube page, and I strongly recommend people watch the review. Now the game was only $6.99 on the Black Friday sale, but I had already bought it when it first came out. Actually, I didn't buy it for full disclosure. It was something that I had gotten from the developer as a review code, so I reviewed it as such. But it's one that I strongly recommend, even at the regular price, which I think is $9.99. It's episodic, but it's captivating, and my goodness. So I kind of put King's Quest in that section for me. It's like I'm okay playing it, getting through it, and then waiting for the next one. And then the last thing I got was, and this I got because it was backward compatible. It was only $2.50. You can't pass this up. I couldn't pass this up. The Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition for the Xbox 360 because it's backward compatible. So as soon as I bought it, popped up in the list for the Xbox. So I can't wait to kind of dip into that some too. I might, because it's such an older game, I might stream that for people.
Well, in fact, we plan on doing, as we talked about, we're going to be doing a lot more streaming, and I'm pretty excited about that, actually.
Well, that's something that you and I have talked about, and I guess we can, we can hold. We have a couple things. We got a couple things going on, so we can kind of talk about that a little bit later tonight. And tell people what we're doing, because we do have some great plans. One of the things is, we do the weekly podcast, and we enjoy that, and just being able to sit and talk some games, and even talk a little sales here and there. But we have some other things that we're working on. We're still a young channel. You said when you came aboard that you were brand new to this. Well, believe it or not, this is only our 22nd podcast as far as the channel goes. I've only been at this, I don't know, six months maybe, and we started. Actually, it's funny. We started the week before E3 is when I reopened the channel. When I reopened Next Level Gaming and started the YouTube channel. We did our first podcast with the original crew of Chris Wilson and Sean Foster and me. We did that the week before E3. So I've only been doing this a short time as well. We're growing, which is awesome. But we're still young. We're still trying to figure out all the great things we can do.
That's right. 43 is the new 20.
That's right. Don't let anybody tell you differently. So of course we have some Let's Plays on the channel, which you can click on once you're done with our podcast. There's reviews on the channel. I just finished putting up our review of Rise of the Tomb Raider, and you still have Star Wars Battlefront coming up, and we have Need for Speed, and going forward we're going to be trying to get back to concentrating on doing some of that stuff. But we've got some other things in the hopper, and before we sign off for tonight, we're going to let everybody know what's kind of going on.
That's awesome.
So we talked about. So I talked. We gave out what we got on Black Friday, and even though not many people really tweeted to us about it, I'll open it up for our comment section below. Let us know down in the comments. What did you guys get? What was your Black Friday haul? Tell us what you bought. Tell us where you got it from and how good the deal was. And I don't know if you know this, John, but I have a feeling that a lot of this Black Friday stuff is going to continue to roll on into Christmas and Hanukkah time. I don't know if you saw this today, but Sony has decided to continue the $299 pricing of the Uncharted Collection PS4, and they're dropping the price of the Star Wars Battlefront bundle, not the custom one, but the one that just comes with Battlefront, $299, and that's going to go on until, now they say December 16th, but I think you and I both know good and well that when they drop a price like that, they almost never bring it back up.
Well, and I personally, I actually, the Uncharted bundle is what I picked up a few weeks back, and it was actually the first Sony console that I've ever purchased. And
Oh, I know.
so right now, I mean, I've finished Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, and I'm just beginning to start Uncharted 3, and they're great games, and I'm kind of stoked because now I'm excited about Uncharted 4. And
Well, and you have the Uncharted 4 beta,
yes, I have
which
that as well.
yes, which is wonderfully streamable. If I believe that it can be streamed, so that will be something that we'll bring to the masses to give them a taste um, of what the Uncharted multiplayer is going to be like when it comes out. But this is your chance to also get Star Wars Battlefront and a PS4 if you like. It's $2.99, and this happened. So the reason I said that was because this kind of happened last year. We know that Microsoft really dropped their pricing of their Xbox One to $349, and then of course it was supposed to be for really just for the holiday season, and then they tried to raise the price of it in January, and then drop the price of it again permanently. So the long way of me saying I think on both sides, I think this is the start of the 299 console year for both the Xbox One and the PS4. I just don't see I don't see them bring I don't know, man. I don't see how they can go back to 349, 399 and continue to go.
Oh, I'd happen to agree with you. I think that the 299 price point is, for whatever reason, people have, as you and I talked about last night, I would have paid a lot more for these consoles when they first came out. Well, I actually did.
Yeah, we
but
did.
but I've never had an issue with that because I'm a gamer, and when a company, especially, I've been a long-time Xbox fan, and just like when the next Xbox comes out, I mean, I'm willing to pay whatever it costs, and I'll continue to support like that. But yeah, I think the 299 price point, it seems to be like a magic number for most people, and yeah, especially during the holidays, it wouldn't make sense to keep raising it. I think why do that? Why not keep it lowered? Let's get more people out there to either buy an Xbox One, a PlayStation, or a Wii U, and enjoy all these great games. I think it's fantastic that everywhere you go, you're finding some kind of deal, whether you're walking into a retail store or you're online shopping. There's all kinds of deals out there to take advantage of.
Yep. And you have great games on both systems. You've got backward compatibility on the Xbox One. You've got the hint of PS2 emulation on the PS4. You have these now crazy prices. It's a good time to jump in. So I want to take a second to just we won't spend a lot of time on it. Don't worry, folks. But I wanted to show a couple of things that I found to be kind of the way it should be. Now, you know, I've long thought that the only people who really care about how the consoles start out are the people who are taking sides in a war. We know who they are. So, there's always that perceived gap. They're always talking about the gap and who's going to catch up to the gap and who's going to close the gap, and the gap is widening and yada 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 yada. And I've always, once again, I've asked several times and I've never got an answer. The side that quote unquote wins, do their gamers get a trophy? Do they get a prize of some sort? And I can't get an answer to that. Nobody can tell me what the gamer who hugs their plastic console of choice actually gets from the manufacturer for winning the war, for helping them win.
And I thought about this, Mike. I don't even know if it's so much about whether or not it's. I think when people go out to purchase a console, I mean, you're going to pick up an Xbox One, a PS4, a Wii U. Maybe you're going to get a gaming rig, but whatever whatever you purchase console wise, when people spend $300, $400, $500 and they bring it home, the last thing a console gamer wants to is the fear of their console struggling, or possibly after they've invested this money, and especially if no matter what fan of what console you are, people like that security of knowing that their console is doing well, and I think that's kind of what drives a lot of this console bickering, and what I think right now Sony's got a huge lead, but let me say this again, it doesn't really matter, what the numbers are, and it didn't really matter over this holiday weekend, Black Friday weekend. If you've purchased the console that you like, and you're playing the games you want to play, and you're staying away from all that negativity, and you're having fun, then you're already a winner. It doesn't matter who sold more, this and that. I think that's just more of a matter of pride with some gamers.
Yep,
And
it is.
and it's a security blanket if they know that their console's in the lead.
Well,
They
and
don't,
here's and here's why I bring this up. So, the average person that's going out to buy their new console, Johnny doesn't go to Best Buy with his mom and walk through the aisle and says, "Well, I really like the games on this Xbox, and I love Halo, or I love whatever, I like this Forza game, or what have you. But Mom, in 2013, Sony sold this many and Microsoft sold this many, and I just don't know." They're not doing that. Nobody's doing that. And I'll show you why. So we get to Black Friday sales, and this is the only thing that I'm really gonna bring up. I was gonna do a little more, but then I realized, believe it or not, as much as we talk about it, because we are somewhat of a news-based, media-based podcast and site, and if you go on our Twitter, we're always tweeting out news and things. I do want to cover it because it is interesting, but I'm not going to dwell on it. But I want to show you this, and this is I promise, guys, this is the only graph I'm going to show you.
I don't believe you, man. I don't believe you.
Nope, I promise.
But I'd still love you if you had more than one graph.
Well, these aren't even my graphs. So this is the infamous InfoScout blog that talks about Black Friday and who sells what where. Despite the fact that Sony has probably about a 900,000 unit lead here, and this is, I'm only saying that I know about the 30 million and all that, but I'm going in this territory, in the North American territory, because that's where this chart comes from. In this territory, they aren't even a million units apart. Okay. Despite all that, despite Sony, and I'm going to tell you how I can spin this both ways, which will drive both sides of the console war folks nuts. But I want you to see this, because despite this perceived giant gap between the two consoles, and the PlayStation 4 is selling so well, and the Xbox One is languishing, and there are people out there that want it to fail, and yada yada yada. At the end of the day, the PlayStation 4 took 42% of the market on Black Friday, and the Xbox One 41%. In political terms, that's a statistical tie.
Well, yeah.
Despite everything going on, despite all the, so here's how I'm going to spin this for the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 at $299 this year was able to outsell the Xbox One, where last year it got hammered. Now watch me spin this for the Xbox One. This is going to blow your mind. You ready? You sitting down?
I'm sitting down.
Despite the fact that the PlayStation 4 has the marketing, the strong arm marketing that has been all over television and all over billboards and all over GameStop and all over everything about Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront, obviously 2 of the 3 to 4 top games. And here's the second chart. Call of Duty is the top selling game of Black Friday. Okay? Despite that, the Xbox One held serve against this juggernaut that's the PlayStation 4. As many people bought an Xbox One as bought a PS4, despite all the marketing. And they did it with the Gears of War bundle, a game that had a remake in it.
Well, yeah, and when I first saw this graph, Mike, it was funny because over Black Friday weekend,
But my point though, real quick, and then I want you to go. My point is that both of these consoles are doing very well, and on the biggest shopping day of the year, everybody went out and bought the console that they wanted, and it turns out that both consoles in this territory, at least, which is the largest of the 3 main territories, they are both right now equally as popular. It doesn't matter how popular they were in 2013 and 2014. Nobody really looks at that anymore. What they're looking at is, we're 2 years out, how popular are these consoles now? And they're equally as popular. So my point is that neither one are going away. Neither one are going to skip a major third-party multi-plat game. Neither console, unless they buy it out, like both consoles have done, like both companies have done, neither one of them is going to miss out on a non-exclusive third-party game. So, PlayStation fans, be very happy with what you've got. You've got a fantastic console that's got great games coming. Xbox One fans, be very happy with your console. You've got some great games, and you've got some great games coming. My rant, my soapbox is off on that for the night. My soapbox is probably going to be off of that for the rest of the holiday season. I just wanted to get that out there. Your turn.
No, I mean, I would agree with a lot of things you said. It's funny, that chart you brought up, I was real excited this Thanksgiving, Black Friday weekend, and, I actually had to turn my phone off at times, or, turn my volume down on the phone because of all the madness. Everybody was following these PS4 sales and Xbox One sales, and some of these people were up all night following this stuff. Now, I love to game, and that I put in a lot of hours in my gaming. But I also realize that, man, this is the holiday season, and family is really is the most important thing in anybody's life, your family and friends.
Absolutely.
And, even me, I love to game, and with me being off work for so long from my work injury, I've had more time than normal to play games. But I was really shocked at people that were so obsessed with these sales and the arguing back and forth, and it really kind of bothered me. And it may have something to do with that I'm getting older, and just I think back of all the prior console wars and this and that, and that's why I got out of all this stuff. Because if you look at that chart, the 42% and the 41%, it's basically a stalemate in sales. And everybody that bickered and argued over that whole entire weekend and all the turmoil that was caused, it didn't change anything. The lead console still has a huge lead. Xbox and PlayStation are both doing very well. And as you mentioned, Michael, even with the PS4 exclusive deals and whatnot, Xbox was able to hold serve. On the other hand, from the PS4 side, they were able to actually still maintain, their lead and not lose any ground without having nearly any AAA exclusives for a while. And that's with the greatest games lineup in history from Xbox.
This is true.
So you can look at it both ways. I think and I agree with you, but those are just, we all know this. We're all gamers. We're not idiots. We see this information day in, day out. It doesn't matter to me because these consoles both need to survive. The arguing needs to stop. And, and Nintendo's got some great things up and coming, and even with the NX, and really, it really bothered me that people are just obsessed with these numbers. And like you said, nobody gets a trophy for this. And I was kind of, people not spending with their time on Thanksgiving and just being glued to Twitter and arguing over the cells. It's just, this is just getting too much.
Well, arguing though is a Thanksgiving tradition, if you think about it.
Well, there's several things you don't talk about too. Religion, politics, whatnot, and I'm going to add gaming in that department. But really, it's a season for holiday cheer. Playing, gaming with our friends, and
absolutely.
Granted, the numbers and stuff are interesting. People always like to know. They want to know. It's always been that way. Who sold more? Who did this? It's always big news. But it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me because I've got all three consoles, and I'm a gaming maniac. I could care less.
It's not for that. It's not for the purpose of rubbing one face into another or anything like that. Again, it is news. We like to report the news, whether you like it or not. Sales are news, and every once in a while, this is for you, Dimitri.
You're not. Oh, you're gonna. Oh, God.
I have made it full screen
in
all of its glory. In all of its glory.
Well, you've got the big numbers on the calculator, like those phones for old people with the 3-inch buttons.
Here you go. Here's how we're going to start calculating NPD results.
Yeah.
Sine and cosine. And
nice.
Tangents.
I remember that from my trig classes. Yeah.
Today, I'm going to go off on a tangent.
All right. That's opposite over adjacent, by the way, for you guys that know math.
I don't know math. My wife knows math.
Oh, God. I love math. It's one of my favorite subjects, math and history.
If I knew math, that giant calculator wouldn't be there. Just say it.
Yep, King SOHCAHTOA, for all you math fans out there.
By the way, we did get somebody. I'm going to share his tweet real quick. Our friend Real Tajdi said he got Transformers Devastation from Amazon for half price.
Very nice, Taj.
Very, very nice. Good job.
I just like saying Taj. Isn't that sexy? Taj.
Anybody else who's listening live, go ahead and tweet us what your haul was. And like I said, once again, comments below. Tell us what your Black Friday haul was. We're interested to know what you got. So, all right. So that was see, I didn't type on the calculator. I didn't come up with all the stuff I wanted to. I had a whole thing, and I'm like, you know what? No, it's okay. I'm good.
Well, every once in a while, maybe once a month, you could do the Ross Perot thing. Pull out your charts.
Well, no, because we're not going to talk. Because honestly, as I said before, I don't talk NPD numbers. I don't care about NPD numbers. Really don't.
Well, and I think the people out there, they want to hear about the games. And
yes,
with us covering so much, we've got too much to talk about.
That's true. But we will cover things like quarterly reports because, what you gotta. Here's where numbers can make or break a company, and I will bring up once again my old girlfriend Sega. Right now the Wii U still has not outsold the Sega Dreamcast. But yet one of those two consoles doesn't exist anymore. Well, mine hasn't blown up. It's not like mine's disintegrated, but one of them isn't in the market anymore. There does come a point when you cannot sell enough to to cover your costs, and you're just losing and pouring money out. The nice thing is that neither Microsoft or Sony at this point in their divisions are in that situation. Sony is making a great deal of money off the PlayStation division, and the PlayStation division is actually holding up a lot of the rest of Sony. On the Microsoft side, the Microsoft Games division as a whole, while they may lose a little money on the hardware, they're making it back up in software and in subscriptions. So neither of them are in danger. Sega was in danger, and Sega, even though they sold 15 million Dreamcasts, they couldn't survive. So the reason that we talk about quarterly numbers when they come out is because there is a tangible time when a company will give up on something, like Microsoft did with the original Xbox, because they were bleeding money, and they had to move on or move out, which is how the Xbox 360 came about within 3 years of the original Xbox. So those numbers we do want to talk about. But those are only once a quarter, so we're not going to talk about it every week. I just wanted to bring this up because Black Friday, of course, is the big time of the year. Everybody's shopping for holiday stuff, and this is the time when the most amount of people enter the console realm. This is the time every year when the most amount of people buy a new console. That's the only reason I bring it up. So, again, up on the soapbox, down off the soapbox. I'm good. I'm centered. I'm breathing.
Wow.
I gotta say, I'm still.
You should start teaching yoga or something.
Part of it is I'm still angry over that 90 Day Fiancé show. Oh my God.
I don't see how you get suckered into watching those chick flicks.
Because like all Americans, I love a good train wreck. And what better train wreck is watching two people with one of them on a K1 90-day visa trying to decide if they want to get married or have to go back to their country of origin, and then watching a 58-year-old man bring a 19-year-old Filipino girl home and ask her to sign a prenup or they won't get married. And I'm yelling at the screen, go back home. You're 19. You're 40 years apart. They went to an attorney, John, and the attorney looked at the prenup and told the girl in private, this is garbage. Don't sign this. Go home. Go live your life. And she signed it anyway because she's stupid. So anyway, that led me to Black Friday soapbox. I don't know how. Okay, moving on. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be probably one of our shortest podcasts because we're kind of in between things. So we just had Black Friday, and you can only talk about that so much. We're going to talk about a couple things that are coming up, but really, we're 2 days away from the Video Game Awards, and then we're 4 days away from the PlayStation Experience. It's the 5th and 6th, so we're 1, 2, 3, 4 days away. So next Tuesday night, we're going to have a ton to talk about, a ton.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about just after the award show. Yeah.
This is true, but we're not podcasting right after the award show, so our good listeners are going to have to wait till Tuesday to get all of our. But that one could be. We may have to start at like 5 in the afternoon, and we could probably be done by midnight. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going on a 7-hour podcast. All right. So, next on the docket, you ready, John? I know you've been prepared for this.
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, the original Next Level Gaming presents. I don't know why.
Yeah.
The State of Gaming with John and Mike. All right. So, John, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I thought I'd kind of change it up a little bit, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about virtual reality. We have all these VR and AR headsets, in production being tested, and they're just looming right around the corner. So I kind of wanted to hit on that. for over 35 years, Mike, I mean, I've been accustomed to playing video games with a controller, or if you go back many, many years, we referred to them as the joystick. And as we approach 2016, VR's inevitable entrance into the console world is upon us. And my question is, will you be the gamer who straps on the Scuba Steve headgear and becomes instantly mesmerized? Or will you be the gamer who decides playing games in a more traditional manner best suits your gaming needs? And every generation becomes more lifelike. And sometimes I often wonder, the closer video games transition into reality, will gaming start to lose the appeal that made us game to begin with? I mean, after all, Mike, I play games to escape reality and live out my dreams and adventures and fantasies. And as the line blurs between gaming and reality, will gaming have the same appeal to us? Maybe in our search for 10 million pixels and 1,000 frames per second, we are losing sight of the most important part of gaming, and that's realizing that you are actually playing a game. And that kind of sums up my state of the game. I've been thinking about it. We've got all these VR headsets, and I personally, I think some of the technology is cool, the VR and the AR. But my honest opinion, it's not very practical. They're still pricey and expensive. And to be honest, I'm old school. I would prefer to pick up a controller and play a video game. And one thing that I've always enjoyed about gaming, Mike, is when you're playing a game, and that's why I think it's funny when people argue about the resolution and frames per second and all this, and then you have the PC elitists that are running everything at Mach 10, and laughing at the console people. I've always enjoyed playing a video game because I realize it's a video game. But in this search for having, these graphics that are so lifelike and these VR headsets, I don't want reality when I'm gaming. I want fantasy. I don't want, and sometimes, I've heard some great comments by some magazine editors and things that have talked about this before, that, will games remain as special? I'm sorry, but I'm just not into the VR, whether it's the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. I want to sit down, when I'm gaming in my living room or in the bedroom, and sometimes my fiance is sitting in a chair next to me, she's watching me game, and we talk back and forth to each other. I don't want to have some fish tank on the top of my head, and she's sitting there looking at me like I'm some kind of dork, and where I'm not interacting with her. I think all those things are cool. I just don't think they're very practical. And if you look down throughout history, a lot of these gimmicky things just don't survive. A lot of times they're pricey, they're expensive. Right now, you've got the exceptional Xbox One Elite controller. Oh, there you go. There's the PlayStation VR, X Project Morpheus. And I'm sure that, you pulled up the picture, I'm sure there's some neat applications for VR and the AR. I just feel as a gamer, I'm a more traditional gamer, I really don't want anything strapped on my head. You already got your $300-400 Turtle Beaches strapped on your head. Some people wear glasses, and like in my brother's case, my brother, he has epilepsy and he has seizures. So he can't even use the VR technology. So there are some people out there that, because of physical reasons, won't be able to use it. And to be honest, it's just not practical. I'd rather have that Scuba Steve headgear as far away from me as possible. I still want to be able to talk, because I game so much anyway, and if my fiance or my kids are out in the room watching me game, I want to be able to interact with them and not being sucked away with that thing. So, that's kind of my take on it. And there's HoloLens, which I think's really forward-thinking and really neat. The dev kits are pretty darn expensive.
$3,000.
Now, I don't know when those are planning on coming to retail. Now, I could see more practical purposes for something like HoloLens actually something maybe like an educational or an instructional type game, to where you're
That's what they're
actually
pushing for.
right. Maybe where I don't know if I think those are better served for other purposes. It's kind of like the 3D television sets. I mean, they're okay, but if I really want to go see good 3D, I'd rather go to IMAX and see it on that huge screen, get the full effect of it. But as far as educational reasons, I think they could be instrumental in helping people, but I just don't find them very practical, and I don't think they're going to be able to be at a price point that's going to agree with people's pocketbooks. And that's kind of my take on it.
All right. So I actually am kind of surprised because let me say I don't want that to come out wrong. You and I agree on this in many ways, and I'm kind of surprised because it seems like VR is the I don't know. People keep talking about it like it's the next greatest thing. So I'm not into either of it either. I don't want to sit there with something strapped on my head as well. I'm not. I'm not. We talk about motion controls and things being gimmicky, and for me, 3D was gimmicky. I have a 3D television. I have a set of 3D glasses. I actually played one of the first 3D stereoscopic games that I played that was actually built
Oh,
for
yeah.
was Black Ops, the
Black
original,
Ops.
for the Xbox 360. And it was cool, but I mean, okay. And to strap something on your head and disconnect yourself from everyone else, it's fine if you're by yourself, but it's going to make. I mean, we have this.
Well, I don't know. I mean, imagine you sitting at home. I'm going to paint a real horrific picture. Imagine Mike Mullis home alone one evening, and the wind's howling and it's dark outside, and you're by yourself, and the family's out doing something. Maybe they're shopping, buying your Hanukkah gifts and stuff, and things like that. But you're home alone and you're in the dark, and it's bad enough when you're home alone, you hear creepy sounds, you're like, what's that? And you're used to your family being around. Now you strap on this scuba gear and you're basically inside an aquarium, and now you're even more afraid. I mean, it's kind of a creepy feeling. And then what if the family gets home early and your wife comes up and she does a little recon on you. You got that thing strapped on and you don't even know she's inside the house, and she comes up and melees you from behind. I mean, hits you from the blind side. I mean, that's going to scare the bejesus out of you. So, I mean, the fright factor alone for VR, I mean, just think of the implications.
Oh, she comes up and chops me on the neck.
Right, you wouldn't know it hit
Well,
you.
and she doesn't. And
She'd be in and out like a ninja. Yeah.
She doesn't know what you're actually doing inside that headset either.
Right. I mean, you could be looking at Pamela Anderson, you holding a controller or something, going ooh ah, and then
Nobody.
whammo.
Hold on. Stop there. Nobody is oohing and eyeing at Pamela Anderson anymore.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yes, I know. Now, give me Catherine Zeta-Jones, and now we're talking.
Okay, well, Catherine Zeta. I mean, you're oohing and ahhing, and your head's bobbing up and down and doing all kinds of weirdness, and and then you get busted, So, good Lord, but in all seriousness, I just think it's kind of weird strapping on the fish tank on your head. I just don't like it.
Yeah, well, and so, and to Sony and PC's credit, right now they're the ones who are really investing in the true VR. Oculus Rift, if you remember, back in the early Windows 10 press conferences, or not press conferences, well, some of them were, the conferences that Microsoft had, where they announced that Oculus Rift would be compatible with Windows 10 and stuff like that, and it would be compatible with streaming from the Xbox. So right now, that's about all you can do on that side. And to give you something, now this just came out, I think this just came out today. Let me double check the date on this. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm not going to use sound. It's going to be a little choppy because we're doing this live. But yeah, this was published today. There are some Microsoft developers that are working on HoloLens that are showing off some YouTube videos. This particular YouTube video that I'm about to show you, while I give you my take, is this guy is streaming Halo 5 on a virtual TV on the wall. And then as he moves, the TV kind of moves with him. And like right now, that's kind of what the application is for gaming. I know we saw the Minecraft thing, and the Minecraft thing is really cool, but as far as what it's going to do with the Xbox One, this appears to be it for the moment. Now, I have, for me, a 72-inch DLP television. I don't have a need to project something on my wall. And then again, I can see it, but what if my kids are downstairs with me and I want to show them, the game? They can't see it. I got to give them the glasses, and then I can't see it and I can't play.
No, you just buy 3 sets and you're broke for a year.
You buy one set of HoloLens and I'm broke for a year. I mean, and price. Let's talk about price for a second, because this is not going to be cheap. This is not like buying a Rob the Robot for the or remember. Hold on.
What about Johnny Five?
Johnny Five. Right. Hold on. I wanted to remember this. All right. We talk about virtual reality and whatnot. Anybody there for bonus points? Does anybody remember this contraption for the Sega Genesis? Anybody?
I can't.
It's called the Sega Activator. You stood inside of it, and these beams of light were supposed to pick up your hand movements and your feet movements, and you're supposed to be able to play Streets of Rage and Mortal Kombat with this. So
fatality.
Right. Yeah, this fatality. I remember, and I found a picture of the box. The box was hilarious. You had this dude basically looking like he's doing, looking like he's Neo from Matrix. Yeah. So, now that's obviously not Oculus Rift. It's obviously not VR, but I'm just saying that some of this stuff gets so, watered down gimmick, and it's never going to be what the tech demos show you. I understand that Minecraft thing was cool. When is that really going to hit? I mean, when are you really going to get to that point where you could just look at a table? And then what happens if you move your head with the HoloLens? What, does your entire Minecraft city fall off the table and break? I mean, where does,
Well, like I said, I don't want anybody out there to think that I hate all this new technology, because I'm a technology guy. I think it's fascinating. But this goes back to my State of Gaming address that we talked about with when we start blurring the lines between reality and gaming. I mean, we love gaming because when we look at the screen, we realize that it's a game. We realize that we're escaping our day in, day out normal activities. We're actually getting away from that for a while, and we're enjoying getting lost in one of our favorite games. Like I said, even that Halo, it's cool that you can project, like even with the HoloLens that you can project, but if you've already got it on your TV screen, why would you want to project it anywhere else? And I think they're kind of cool ideas, and I think this is interesting. I just know that down throughout history, none of this stuff really is too successful. And
well, that's the problem.
And it's you know, it's hard enough to get someone want to buy a console, like, especially when both of these first came out. There were people that said both of them were too expensive. And and now you're going to probably bring the market of VR headsets are probably in the $300 to $400 range at least, probably. I don't see how they're going to be any lower.
Shuhei Yoshida himself said that they were going to price this as a platform.
Exactly,
They have to.
they have to because of what they invested into it. And
And
my thing is,
HoloLens is going to be more expensive than that because the damn thing's going to be a computer.
well, and I think right now what we're missing in gaming is things like more co-op games that you can play couch co-op with your family. I think that VR, it might be for a single person, it may be something cool to get, maybe to experience, or maybe to do a couple demos.
Well,
But
and if you're gaming on a 32-inch TV or a monitor, and you could look at I mean, I could see that. If you're gaming on something small, and then you want to you want to play you want to play your whatever game you're playing on a on a larger screen, that's fine. That I get. But where does where's the sizzle? And
well,
look,
and then
if I
like
if I want to play a game where I'm sitting in a boat and fishing, I can go fish. I can go on a real boat and fish. I want to play a game, if I want to go and be in the middle of a paintball game, I can go play paintball. Does that make sense?
it makes well that brings up my point. Gaming is playing games to me. I just the reality part and gaming kind of are contradictory. That's I play to escape reality, as do others.
And I mean, I don't mind some of it. Like, I've had conversations with people about Kinect, and I've always been a big Kinect supporter. And when people would tell me that the Kinect serves no purpose, there's no games for it, there's no, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, when I can do things like I remember when this console launched and Dead Rising 3 came out, and I could, if a zombie was holding on to me, trying to attack me, I could shake my controller, and the Kinect would pick up the controller shaking, and I could shake the guy off, or I could point onto the screen for where I wanted my NPCs to go. That's about as far as I want to take it. That really is. That's about as far. I want to sit on my couch, maybe hold my hand out a little bit, hold the controller with the other hand, get back on my controller, and just,
well,
to
none of
sit there
these
and immerse myself like
devices.
that.
I I mean, even as well as I do, Mike. None of these devices ever pan out working like they're supposed to. They never do. They always, like you said, they work fine during tech demos, in controlled setups, atmospheres. But when you actually buy the product and get it home, they just never work like they're supposed to. And then you always have things that they didn't think about, like the field of view or different lighting situations, or there may be some things that people miss. They just never pan out to be what they build them up to be. So I would rather take my $300, $400, $500, maybe buy a console I didn't have, maybe buy the Elite controller, or buy me 5, 6 games. And
Right.
I just I like including my family in my gaming too, and they like watching me play, and I just don't want something strapped on my head. And like I said, there are people with health issues out there that, the VR they can't even use,
Right.
so that's my take on it. If you're wanting to learn how to build an engine, or you're wanting to learn how to become a surgeon, and you strap on a VR headset or the HoloLens, and it can teach you maybe in some kind of manner like that. I see a better purpose for those types of devices for more instructional things.
Yeah.
I think it's real gimmicky in the gaming.
Now, I'll say this. Um, Sony will have a chance to convince people of this uh, during, at the PlayStation Experience on Saturday. If you're going to that at 2 o'clock Pacific time, they're having a PlayStation VR panel where they're going to have Dave Ranyard from London Studio, Anton. I always pronounce his name wrong, so forgive me, Anton. Anton Mikhailov from Media Molecule, and a couple other people, and they're going to talk about the future of VR and how they're going to make VR fun and that kind of thing. So you may get a better view, and maybe it will sway some people. Microsoft and Sony both tried to do this at both E3 and Gamescom. I mean, if you remember, Microsoft had a HoloLens demo for Halo, and Sony had, of course, some VR set up in theirs. I don't know. Maybe it is because you and I are older. That could play into it. That maybe you and I are just.
I don't even know if it's the age, Michael. I think that these companies, these console companies. I mean, if I were running Sony or Microsoft, which I'm not doing either, but I've gamed enough to know about the games, and I'm just as much gamer as anybody else. And I mean, I've played for years, and I would rather take that money and invest into ways of making my console better or games better. I'm telling you, like right now, if I were Sony, and of course I just recently got the PS4, which I love the console, and I love my Xbox One, but I would rather see Sony put that money back into maybe making some new IPs or some AAA games. I think with the market share that they've got, this VR thing, if it doesn't pan out well, it could be bad news for them, because this is when they make these things, Mike. It's just like the Kinect, the Kinect debacle with the Xbox One, and it's a costly thing when you lose money in hardware. We're not talking all the development time and what it costs to make these devices. If this VR thing doesn't take off, it could be a huge loss for either company.
This is true, which is why I think HoloLens is not geared towards gamers. It's geared towards industry first, with probably gaming second.
Even Satya Nadella, he stated that it's not the right. I forget his exact words. I don't want to misquote him. But basically, I think he's kind of put it off a little bit because its place in gaming right now. I don't think it's quite its time right now. It's not quite ready. And I think that's why they kind of have put it on hold a little bit.
Well, actually, I just took a quick look. He's he said gamers will have a completely new experience to look forward to when HoloLens hits store shelves. Gaming is going to be reimagined. Classic game developers like those working on Minecraft are building a different kind of game for this new medium. I think he's head first into it more than anything.
Oh, we got a question. Our good friend Jeremy Downer. He
Jeremy.
Yeah, he said, have you ever really listened to your own podcast? It's so boring, I want to shoot myself.
Oh, well, thank you, Jeremy.
Now, see, you have to know Jeremy, and he's really means no harm. He's like a little kitten. But, I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm sorry, we're not a Ricky Lake or a Jerry Springer podcast, and, I'm sorry we bring news, so sorry, guy, I hate to burst your bubble, man. We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, we love you, Jeremy, though.
We love you, but, we're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. No. Anyway, thanks for bringing that. So I think he's all head first into HoloLens, to be honest with you. Now, but the issue becomes, it's how much is it going to cost? And they've got a lot to lose with it, but I think you're right, man. think Sony has a lot more to lose because that's what's holding. I mean, the PlayStation division's holding Sony up right now. I just don't think that they're gonna. Uh, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. They've got a lot of games in development for it. They've got a lot of excited people for it. I don't see it. I don't know that I see it, and I don't. And it's not just PlayStation VR. I don't know that I see it with HoloLens either. I just, I'm not. Maybe 3D, and maybe it's unfair. Maybe it's unfair to say that 3D has ruined it for me, but 3D may have ruined it for me because that was a fad that just jumped right out the gate and died in my hand. So, hey, hold on. I'm responding to Jeremy because he may actually have shot himself, and so we don't want. We certainly want him to make sure he's okay. We want you to be safe.
Oh, I'm sure Jeremy's okay. Jeremy's a good guy. We've talked a few times in party chat, and and a lot of people listening out there. Our podcast is just, a little different. We're just reporting on gaming news on all the platforms, and we're trying to cover information. We're not here to do the console war thing. We're not here to put a big theatric Jerry Springer, Ricky Lake type show. We just really believe in bringing our knowledge to the program.
He says, haha, I love you guys.
Yes, there's Jeremy again, haha. Man, he's like the Joker, isn't he? Yeah, he's like the Joker. I love that guy.
No, he's a good guy.
Well,
he knows we love him.
Well, I'm not going to forgive him till he buys me a pair of tennis shoes. He's buying everybody else tennis shoes, buying them green tennis shoes, blue tennis shoes, light up tennis shoes, LED tennis shoes. Where's my tennis shoes?
I know. It was just your birthday.
I want a pair of green tennis shoes, Jeremy, Nike tennis shoes like the ones you got Tim Dog, and on the side I want my avatar picture.
I thought you were going to say your gamer tag.
No, my little avatar head. Wouldn't that be so cool if you could actually order from Xbox or order from Jeremy? Get where you could go to Jeremy Downer's avatar shoes, and you could put together you pick out your favorite color, green, blue, what have you, and put your little avatar picture on the side.
Our friend Beard to the rescue. He's come to our rescue.
Yeah, well, Beard,
yes,
he's
we are having fun. We are having fun.
Beard's the only one with common sense, so he's.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out while we're just off on tangents now. Thanks,
right.
Jeremy. Thanks for dragging us off course.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to one of my new developer friends, Jason Campbell. He's at Game Dev Jace. Him and I have been talking for a while. He's making a game called One of Us, and it is a side-scrolling martial arts. If you remember, John, you're older than me. If you remember an old game called
why do you have to
Karateka.
say that?
I'm the child of the podcast now.
But you don't have
Dad.
to point it out several times a day. And John, I know that you're older than me, so do I get to go first? I mean, if we go to MCL cafeteria, do I get to go first and get a senior citizens discount? I don't know.
I
don't know where this is going. All right.
I'm sorry, Dad.
What were we? Who's your daddy? What were we talking about?
Weird.
For God's sake, let's get back on
Jason,
track.
he is still working on his game. He is so the game is if you ever remember an old game called Karateka, it's a two-dimensional karate game. It was really simplistic, but it was fantastic. Well, one of Jordan Mechner's.
I remember a movie called Erotica, but not a game called Karateka.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
No. This is a family podcast.
That's a family show.
Oh, we have gone off the rails. John, Jeremy, Congratulations. You have completely destroyed our podcast.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
Jeremy's
so
fault.
much.
It is his fault, man.
It's his
He's
fault.
bringing everybody down. Jeremy
Oh,
Downer. He's just
so
infamous.
this is an old game called Karateka.
I know
And
that game. Yes, it's
yes.
very
Now,
reminiscent of ER Kung Fu.
for those of you under the age of, I don't know, 40, you've never seen this before.
But
This
that's
is
Jeremy and his
this is
horns.
called
Look, the devil.
8-bit graphics.
Yeah.
This is what many retro indie games are shooting for. However, I bring this image up because um, my good friend Jason is working on this game. He's been working on it. It's coming out for PC, and he is in the ID at Xbox program now, and so he will be. As far as I know, um, he's looking at the game for Xbox One. I'm not going to drop any. I have the. He's allowed me. He's allowed me the honor of the official announcement when it happens. So I'm not going to give it away. But he has a. It's a concept in Greenlight on Steam, and I want people to actually go and help him greenlight this game. It's really cool. It's kind of that. It's that game I just showed you meets Braid, not Braid, meets Limbo. So I'm going to show you a quick picture of this game. This is what the game looks like. It's got
Very nice.
and this is Jason. So he did all of his own motion capture, and he showed me once a very very early trailer, and I instantly fell in love with the game. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping he'll listen to this later, and hoping he'll. I'm actually hoping he'll. He's on the other side of the world, so he's when he's
Oh,
on,
wow.
it's it's probably morning for him now. So I'm hoping we can get him on to talk about the game at some point in the early part of the year. So yeah, I just wanted to since we're just throwing random tangents out there, I just wanted to throw that one out there just because I saw him tweet just a minute ago and wanted to just let him know I'm still thinking about him.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so let's move on. Let's go to the last thing we wanted to talk about today. So obviously, we've come to just about the end of the 2015 game releases. Of course, we had a couple of game releases today. Rainbow Six Siege is finally out, and Just Cause 3 is out today. And I'm still, man, I'm so eyeing Rainbow Six Siege. However, that lack of story mode is killing me. I can't. It's kept me from being the game that I just run out and grab. The beta was fun for a little bit, but without that compelling story mode like Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2 had, I'm having trouble pulling the trigger. So
Well, I'm right there with you. I played the Rainbow Six beta. I'm not impressed with it at all. Game
and I'm a Rainbow Six guy.
Well, and I've got a lot of friends that are Rainbow Six fans, but I'm telling you what, man, this is next gen, and this game does not. I repeat, this game is not worthy of a next gen game. I'm passing on Rainbow Six completely. I've got friends that are big Rainbow Six fans, but man, to me, it's just not up to my standards for a game. Now, that doesn't mean that it's just my opinion. I just expected for a game that's been in development for this long, I was expecting much, much more. And, here we go again with Ubisoft. I mean, it's always a 50-50 deal when you're purchasing a Ubisoft game anymore. So I'm steering clear of Rainbow. I'm sorry. That's Techno's take on Rainbow Six. I ain't buying. I know you
I'm
can.
still on
I
the
know you
fence.
can play with your friends, and that's what my friends are saying. They're like, "Oh, John, oh, come on, man, it's Rainbow. We can play together. We'll have fun." I have fun playing any game with my friends, but I'm not paying $60 for this game.
Yeah,
I'm just not. Sorry.
understood. I'm still on the fence. If I get it, obviously we're going to review it. So we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, so those are the last really of the big games that are coming out now. So now that people are getting their consoles, and now that people are we've got a whole brand new couple of million gamers out there. Let's talk about what's coming out next year. We can make this a kind of a quick thing. We don't have to go super game by game, but what are your highlights for next year, man?
Oh God. Well, I've got. That's a tough one because I've got games that, with the Xbox One and PS4. I mean, of course, Xbox One. I'm looking forward to Quantum Break. Release date April 5th next year. Remedy Entertainment. Published by Microsoft. I mean, this is
Now,
going to be an amazing game, third-person shooter, and it was one of the games that won the most anticipated game award at the last award show. So,
well,
Quantum Break
it's
is
nominated. It's
right.
nominated
It's
for Thursday's
nominated.
show,
Right,
so it could
but
win.
to bring down my choices, I mean, I'm looking forward to Quantum Break, Scalebound, Mike by Platinum Games.
Oh, Scalebound,
Um,
absolutely.
and our good friend Hideki Kamiya. Now, Kamiya has not blocked me. I've been very nice, and I just want to throw this in there. Everybody's like, "Oh, Kamiya's son, he blocks everybody." No, he doesn't. I know why everybody got blocked from Kamiya. That's because everybody trolled Kamiya for several hours and wouldn't leave the man alone. So now he goes on a rampage and a terror, but he's got a good game going here with Scalebound. And just look at that picture, man.
I know.
You got the dragon thing, and it's almost got a little Final Fantasy kind of vibe to it, But I'm really
I'm
looking
going to give
forward to
you a
that.
different take. Go ahead, because I'm gonna pull something up. I'm gonna give you a slightly different take on, and
I,
I've been thinking about this, and it's a game that I don't think many people remember because it's an old Sega game. But go ahead, finish on Scalebound because I'm gonna show you something.
but to me, just the look of it, it just looks like the genre. It's kind of an action role playing game, and you've got your drag. You've got some role playing elements into it, but also with the sword. And then I can't help but think of every time I look at it, man, I think of Panzer Dragon back in the day.
So
You know,
right,
and
so I
the
combine,
boy with his dragon. So I
yeah.
mean, when you've got the human element with his bond or relationship with this dragon or dragons, I mean, this game is really the last time we saw it, at E3, and it's really making progress. And if people leave Kamiya alone and let him do his work, we're going to get a fantastic game. So give Kamiya a break. I'm going to start a new thing here.
Hashtag give Camille a
Hashtag
break.
give Kamiya a break. Stop trolling the man. Let him make his game. Leave him
Oh my
alone.
God.
Stop being nerds, everybody. Let the
So
man alone.
this game actually reminds me of an old Dreamcast game called Sword of the Berserk. Except it doesn't have a dragon, so it meshes Sword of the Berserk.
Oh, I know that game.
Yeah, Sword of the Berserk meets Panzer Dragoon, except you never. Well, I don't know that you never never ride the dragon. We don't know that you don't ride the dragon in Scalebound. You may, but this is the game that it reminds me of, and there's nothing
Well,
wrong with that. Now, obviously, this is an old Dreamcast game, so it doesn't look nearly as good as what Scalebound's going to look at. But as far as the just the feel of it, as far as the character. So yeah, Scalebound. I mean, that's going to be incredible.
and then Mike, we've got Crackdown 3, Sumo Digital, and Cloud Gen, action adventure, third person, big huge sandbox game, the third in the Crackdown series. And here we're going to get to see the power of those Azure servers. and the cloud power, and we're gonna especially if I'm not mistaken, it's the multiplayer mode of it where that's going to be taking advantage of all that with
Correct.
everything everything being 100% destructible. And our good friend Tim, he just loves I'm like him though. I think the cloud thing is something that could be really big. And that doesn't involve you buying anything new for your console, which you got, and that's why I think the cloud thing might, what they're doing with Crackdown, that actually may be bigger than the VR and the AR of gaming.
Now,
If
see, and right. So now that's something that I can get behind, because that's tangible as far as taking that same the staying out of the reality bit, and still though being able to augment the game with some sort of technology. That's where I
right.
think using the technology is. That's a poor picture, but that's where I think the technology really can shine. And look, neither of us are sitting here saying that, oh, the cloud's going to make the Xbox One magically, X more powerful than the PS4 or when the NX comes out or whatnot. No, we're not saying that. But when you can, I'm an IT guy. My day-to-day job is in IT. Games are what my hobby is. This podcast is what my hobby is. I work in the IT field. I have direct knowledge and direct usage of things in Azure. So I know a little bit about what they're trying to do. I understood the technology when they first started talking about it, and everybody else who wanted to dismiss it right away, were making fun of it and things like that. I understood from the start kind of
Now
what that
see,
means,
I
because I work in virtualization and I know all about what it takes to have a data center and that kind of thing. So I understand exactly what they're trying to do with Crackdown, and I'm eagerly awaiting to see what that's
well,
going to be about.
I like the way you said Azure. You pronounce everybody pronounces it different, but you pronounce it like my good friend Beetle Comet. My Irish good friend, and he still, what cracks me up when you talk to Beetle Comet, he'll refer to 343 Industries. He'll say, "Oh, John, have you listened to 343?" And he says, "Yeah, Azure." So when you said Azure the way you did, that's how he. So you just reminded me, my good friend. That's a shout out to Beetle Comet, good friend of mine. So
Uh,
go
I'm actually
Ireland.
somebody who didn't really know enough about one of my semi non-gamer guys at work actually called them 343i. I was like, what? No, don't ever say that again. Yeah, it's 343i. No, it's not. But that's what I read. Just stop talking. Just stop talking. Just stop talking.
It's just it's whatever
Yeah,
you want
just
it to be.
right, right. So, I think that. Well, now, did you in your list?
I've got tons of. I mean, I've got I'll name some few, like on Xbox One, Forza Horizon 3, Halo Wars 2.
Now, wait
We've
a
got
minute. Stop.
oh, and that
We haven't gotten a confirmation on Forza Horizon 3 yet,
not a,
have
this is
we?
an anticipated. It's going to come. They've been talking about it. That's their whole plan. I'm telling you, it's coming. You're going to have a Forza. I guarantee you. I'll bet money on it. I'll bet you 25 cents right now on live television. On there. I bet you 25 cents they're going to have a regular Forza 1 year, and then the next year they're going to have a Horizon, and I bet you they're going to alternate them. That way that Xbox always has a racing game out there.
Okay. I mean, I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying we haven't
They're going to
seen.
do the Call of Duty thing there with that. Of course, Forza's a
Well,
lot better than. I mean, I'm just saying that I could
as
possibly
long
see
as
that.
Playground Games is involved, I don't care.
Oh, they're
That works for me.
fantastic. They're great. And we've got Gears 4, we've got Recore, Sea of Thieves, Cobalt, and Cuphead. So those are some of my, and I mean, if you want to talk more, and I've got a bunch of PlayStation 4 games we haven't even talked about really, but to be fair, we probably ought to hit on some of those. But if you want to talk about some of these Xbox One titles before we move on, Mike, we can.
Well, why don't we go
We're-
through the list of PS? Here's what I think we should do. We should go through the list of PS4 titles, but we should really, we're going to get an up close look at a lot of them next week. So on next podcast, we're going to cover the PS4 a lot. I mean, it's probably, we said this. We said this a couple of weeks ago. There are going to be weeks when Xbox is going to kind of dominate the news cycle and therefore dominates what we talk about. Next week, PlayStation is going to kind of dominate the news cycle. So obviously, a good chunk of our podcast is going to be talking about games like Horizon and Uncharted 4, and I'm assuming we're going to see more of The Last Guardian. What's on your list?
Oh God! I mean, you've got the Ratchet and Clank for 2016.
Oh, by the way, sorry, not the tangent again. I took the kids to see The Good Dinosaur at the movie theater, and one of the previews was for the new Ratchet and Clank movie that's coming out next year. Oh my God, it looked awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and Ratchet and Clank's a great series. Such a great series.
But yeah, I mean, they've got tons of games. They've got Kill Strain that's coming out. Project Setsuna, which I'm a big role playing guy, JRPG guy. I like all genres, but Project Setsuna, okay, published by Square Enix. That's going to be a fantastic game. We've got What Remains of Edith Finch, Star Ocean 5, another JRPG.
Here's Project Setsuna, by the way.
Right.
I'm trying to keep up with you. My screen sharing skills are getting better by the week.
Oh yes, there's Project Setsuna, and I love JRPGs. I love RPGs. I love all the games. But that's what I'm looking for. I mean, the Star Ocean series. It's the 5th one. Integrity and Faithlessness. I'm looking forward to that. Another one published by Square Enix. You got the Final Fantasy VII remastered, and I know people don't, they're like, oh, not another remastered, but I gotta say, Final Fantasy VII is probably one of the best Final Fantasy games in the entire series. So, for people that maybe have just bought a PS4 and never played Final Fantasy VII, I myself am going to pick it up and play it.
Yeah, I can no longer say 1995 called and wanted their game back, because look how many people bought the Gears of War Ultimate Edition Xbox for a game that was out on the previous gen, and
well, yeah,
you can't say that anymore because the whole world is remasters.
I think one of the most, and I'll end this on the PS4 side, but I think one of the games I'm really looking forward to is Drawn to Death, and it's a third-person shooter multiplayer game. It's got an artistic, hand-drawn look to it. It's like that video by Aha, Take On Me. It's kind of got this sketched artist drawing. And it's actually designed by David Jaffe. And, so I'm real excited and looking. That's one game that I'm very much interested in. And of course you've got, I'll have my baseball game, which that's going to be a definite purchase for me on the PS4's MLB The Show 2016. Yeah. And, there was talk, I know that Gran Turismo has been in development, and
we have the beta.
They had talked about it, now this was a long time ago. They had talked about it could possibly come out 2015, but it's going to be in 2016, I believe. And
the beta's in 2016. I think. Right. I think that game is 2017. I'm just saying, it's if they're beta testing it 2015 and 2016 in like May.
I don't know. I mean, they beta tested Rainbow Six just a few weeks ago.
Well, they beta tested it earlier than that.
I know. I'm just saying that
Well, the Halo 5 beta was a year ahead of time, just about.
Oh, but they had to though. After the problems they had with the Master Chief Collection Online, they had to test it early.
True.
Halo 5 had to come out, and they knew that they had to get the multiplayer right. They
Yeah,
knew
but
they
I
had
could say
to.
the same thing now. They're different. They're different studios. Of course, Master Chief Collection was different studios coming together
True.
too. But I think part of this beta is because of what happened at Drive Club at launch. Drive Club was
Oh,
not
God.
perfect at launch either, and that was broken. That was
Oh,
broken.
yeah.
And
Well,
and I, it's rare that you see PlayStation fans really angry, but PlayStation fans were peeved.
like I said, and yeah, they had Drive Club had a really bad launch, and it's funny. I've been playing it recently. The thing about Drive Club, when all that debacle happened, people were comparing it to Forza. They're two separate, different racing games. Drive Club is not a racing simulation. It's more of a Need for Speedish, test drive, burnout type of, arcadey racing fun game. It's not. I just wanted to throw that in there. People compared it to Forza. It's almost not fair. I mean, as far as a racing simulation, I think I'd be safe to say in the console world, the only thing that comes close to Forza would be Gran Turismo from Sony. But but it's unfortunate. Like I said, it's not funny when any game has issues on either console. I mean, it wasn't funny when they had issues with Master Chief for the Xbox One fans,
No,
and it wasn't funny for the
wasn't
Sony
funny for Drive
fans,
Club either.
and it wasn't funny, yeah, when they had trouble with Drive Club either. So
Nope.
yeah,
Because that's and I said this last week when we were talking about people slamming games and people slamming consoles and stuff. You know, like it or not, even though there's some bravado that goes on and things like that, behind the scenes, there are programmers and there are artists and animators and sound guys and technicians and IT people keeping all that running who um, don't see their families for months, who work 20 hours 20 hours a day, um, sometimes, and they get crapped on by the public. Some of that stuff you can you take very seriously, and I've
oh
seen
yeah,
we've seen people leave the industry over stuff like that.
oh
We've
yeah.
seen people quit gaming studios over just the horrific things you hear about a game. So absolutely, nobody wants to see Evolution Studios close because Drive Club you know had issues.
No, I mean, let's just hope that this 2016 is a smooth year for all these new games. I
Yes.
think I, I
Well,
think I think what we're going to see, no matter what console you play on, Mike, I think what we're going to see is these games are going to start pushing the envelope a little bit more, and you're actually going to try to start to see some of this next gen stuff. I think the way Sony moved away from the PS3, the way that Sony's opening up the seventh core on their console, the way Xbox has made improvements with SDKs and using the cloud Azure. I think what we're going to see games this year is it's going to be a glimpse of good things to come. I think this to me might actually be the best year ever. This may be the year that the next gen maybe should have been how it should have been 2 years ago. I
yeah.
think this may be the start of it.
I think you're right. There's just so many games. I mean,
Oh
there's
God,
stuff.
yes.
I'm gonna show you because I was trying to keep up with you. Um,
Sorry.
no, that's fine. I was really trying to keep up with you with screenshotting. But I want everybody to look at this. This is just right off of. All you have to do is Google games of 2016 and look at this list. The Division, Final Fantasy, Uncharted 4, which we hadn't talked about yet. We're going to talk about that next week, I am sure. Deus Ex, Mirror's Edge, Street Fighter 5, No Man's Sky, The Last Guardian. We're going to we'll skip Dead Island 2 until they actually say it's really coming out.
Now
Horizon Zero
there's
Dawn.
now that Horizon Zero Dawn. Now there's another one
Yep.
that is nominated for most anticipated, along with Quantum Break.
And if you
So
watch the videos, you see why.
Oh yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, Doom. We haven't even talked about Doom and those kind of games. I'm waiting for the open beta on that because I bought, not the open beta, the closed beta, because I bought Wolfenstein. So I'm raring to go to get into the Doom beta. Dishonored 2, Star Citizen, Dark Souls 3, Homefront, Battle. I mean, look at this. Mass Effect Andromeda. We haven't talked about that yet.
I'm kind of upset about Homefront. I'm from everything, and maybe you know a little more about this.
Here, I'm going to keep scrolling while you're talking.
I liked the original Homefront, and I liked it because of the multiplayer. From what I'm understanding, this next rendition of Homefront is basically co-op, which there's nothing wrong with co-op. But the reason that I liked Homefront was because it had a multiplayer mode in it.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of upset about that. A lot of my friends, sure, it had some trouble out the gate on the, of course I played it on the 360, and it had trouble, right out of the gate with matchmaking, and, there weren't many maps. They didn't really support it. They had money trouble, but the game was actually fun to play. You had the little helicopter drone, and I mean, it was actually kind of a refreshing little take on multiplayer, and it kind of saddens me that the next Homefront's just going to be co-op. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I was kind of really wanting some new multiplayer, some fresh material, man, and that's going to be a bummer for me. If it's co-op, that may be a purchase I make when it comes down in price.
Could be, and it depends on what the price is going to be when it does come out.
That's true.
So, but I scrolled through that list. I mean, the amount of games that are coming for both consoles, and that's not counting the Forza Horizon 3 that's probably going to get announced at E3. The games, the games on the PlayStation 4 that are probably going to get announced at E3. The yearly Call of Duty, the yearly Assassin's Creed, and all that stuff. The 2016 looks jam-packed, and it's how do you afford all that? That's the big question. So yeah, good stuff. And so next week, like I said, we're going to be, focusing. John, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I am so sorry. My computer has completely locked up. It is actually completely 100% frozen. And so I have just very quickly switched over to my phone.
I wondered what was happening. I didn't want to. I could have continued on with the show, but I didn't. I didn't want to steal your thunder. So.
Oh, you should have. Can you hear me?
I can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have, and now I'm using my Turtle Beach headset that I use with my Xbox One, my XO4.
Those down. I've got 7.1 right in my ear, man.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, those things are loud.
My computer is actually completely 100% frozen. Like, it just froze. I can't control it, delete, nothing. It is frozen solid. So I am so sorry for that slight break. Um, I could edit it out, but nah, we'll just let it go. People will understand.
No, it's better to be natural. You got to let it all hang out.
So, oh man, I cannot believe that. Okay, so probably a good time to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, Jeremy's probably real bored now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He probably did this. This is his fault.
he probably is. I
He's
mean,
something to my machine.
yeah. I mean,
All his fault.
Jeremy's behind it, man. He's trolling us now. Now he's interrupting, the airwaves. He
Yeah.
won't stop at nothing.
Oh my God. All right. So we'll save the rest of this for next week, and I don't know how much of my what I was saying got cut off, but next week obviously we're going to be focusing a lot on the PlayStation stuff and Jeff Keighley's video game awards. And he's, like I said, he's made some small announcements. There's going to be about 10 world premieres, including a brand new Quantum Break premiere. There's one studio that apparently wants to be kept secret. Mark Hamill's going to be there. Keith Sutherland's going to be there. It's going to be a big to-do on Thursday. So we'll live tweet that through the NLG Twitter feed. So if you're not in a position where you can actually watch it, keep an eye on the @OG_NL Gaming Twitter feed, and we will bring you all the news that comes out of the Game Awards, as well as whatever news we get out of the PlayStation experience. So, John, before we wrap up, though, we have a little bit of kind of channel news to bring people, and this is all good stuff. So, as we talked about earlier, Next Level Gaming is, we're now in a phase now that you're here and you're kind of settled in, and we're kind of rolling now. We're going to start.
Yeah.
We're getting there. I'm happy with what we're doing.
I'm still thinking about our good friend from Happy Gilmore, the jackass guy, the Jimmy Downer. I love him. He's a master troll, and I love that guy.
Oh man, well I can't look at my Twitter feed on my phone. I don't want to drop off.
Right now, Jeff Taylor's making fun of you. He's got some questions. Jeff Taylor says, long-time listener, first-time caller. How do you edit a live show, Michael?
All right. Well, at least we know the show is still happening.
Right.
So what you would have to do, Jeff, is I would have to download this to my computer from the YouTube page, throw it into my favorite movie making software, edit out the bad parts, and then re-upload it, which would be fine, except then I'm up until 4 in the morning.